On Hulu, I also watched Highlander. Yes, Highlander, but this isn't no normal version. It's not advertised as anything special. But this is the unrated version they have streaming on Hulu. I shit you not. So, Highlander, this 80s cult classic, Christopher Lambert, Sean Connery, they're immortals. I think you guys know the movie already. I want to say Queen really comes through with the music. The effects aren't bad. The sets are pretty strong. This is a canon film. And with that, you got to think about a few things. What does this movie seem a lot like? Lightning effects when things die. Hero wears trench coat and sneakers. Time travel element. It's the Terminator ripoff for canon. You know, maybe it's guised a little better than most of the contemporary Terminator ripoffs. You know, where it's like an unstoppable killing machine, literally. No, these guys are immortal. The bad guy dresses in punk attire. He's unkillable by normal means. It's the Terminator, guys. But anyways, it's a pretty exciting movie. There's a lot of cool edits in here. This is done by the director of probably the best Resident Evil movie, Extinction, as well as Duran Duran videos such as Hungry Like the Wolf, which got massive ass airplay on MTV back in the day. And you can see a lot of those edits, but in a lot of ways, it doesn't look very good for a narrative. There's a lot of wide-angle dolly shots that look weird, that come off cheap. There are some cool edit moments. We're going into like the eye of McLeod, and then it takes us to a flashback. A lot of this stuff's really nifty shit in like 1986 when they did this. It's easy to do now, but back in the day, to try to mat out this shit and get these dissolves right, much tougher. I think that the movie's problem is that it's a bit all over the place. We have a lot of flashbacks. I don't think we really cared too much about Connor McLeod, the Highlander. Highlander doesn't mean immortal, he's one of the immortals. It's probably good that they don't explain this because it's a self-contained one movie. The effort to stretch this out into a franchise messes it up. Because it comes introduction, conclusion in one movie, and then they're like, hey, let's make it a franchise. And that's where things get bad. But he's taught by this Egyptian, Ramirez, Sean Connery. He's taught about how immortal stuff goes. And there's rules that no one could have possibly have come up with or known that they just say is true. Oh, there's no fighting on holy ground. Even the baddest ass, worst immortal guy, the Kurgan, Clancy Brown, the bad guy, well, the main lackey in the Shawshank Redemption, even he won't break that rule. How do you get this idea? And they can only be one, right? Well, what if you're friends and you're the last two? You know, this kind of comes up in Highlander Endgame, where they try to conclude Christopher Lambert's Connor McLeod with Duncan McLeod from the TV series. And as far as that kind of effort goes, that movie needs to be commended in some respect. It's not terribly necessary though, because you have everything here. They talk about the quickening. They talk about the gathering. How they're all going to be fighting this urge to go to a foreign land. That's New York City, 1986. They're fighting it out. The movie starts out with, of course, the theme song by Queen, which is really badass. We're traveling in, we go to this wrestling event at Madison Square Garden. I guess a helicopter shot. I'm not really sure how they pulled this off. I'd kind of like to see that, how they did this in 1986. They got like a drone or helicopter or some shit. Traveling around with a camera, it zooms in on McLeod. And he's feeling the presence of an immortal. So he goes to the parking lot and they fight it out. And the guy's doing like flips and shit to get away from him. Kind of reminiscent of Blade Runner. There's a lot of sparks with these swords, and it's a tad bit ridiculous in that regard. But keep an eye on those backflips. Not stuff that happens in the regular version. I'm telling you, this is the unrated version. There's a few differences. Connor McLeod has this alias. He operates as an antique dealer in New York City, and the gal who oversees his stuff, he actually rescued her in World War II when he was over there fighting, and there's a flashback for that in this version that you don't see in any other American releases. Now, I can see why they cut this out, because this girl, little girl, tattered clothes he rescues from the Nazis, has some nipple coming out. Canon Films, people, they did the same thing in Delta Force. Canon Films. So, yeah, so you got to see that go down, and I was like, yeah, I can see why they cut that. It wasn't necessary to the story. Their relationship seems to be fairly professional. There's a girl who works for the police, and she is into antiques, old sword stuff, finds fragments of the sword that he used, and the one the immortal he killed at the beginning have, and they're old and all this shit. They predate history on this stuff. The sword that Connor uses is actually from Ramirez. Or is it Ramses? Or shit. I think it's Ramirez. He uses Sean Connery's. I guess his Claymore's not as good. He got this because Kurgan showed up and killed Ramirez when Connor was away for unexplainable reasons that they never talk about. And he says, after that I had his girl too. Oh, that was your girl. Ha ha ha. And so Connor didn't know this, as they had a long life afterwards. And she aged, he didn't. She got old, he stayed by her side, she died. But he lights a candle every day for her birthday. Well, not every day, every year on her birthday, remembers her. He shows up at this church. Kurgan's there. He's like, I'm looking for you. It's just you and me. He's killed off other immortals in the meantime. And so they think they're the last two. How they got this information, I don't know. In the TV series, they explain how there's these watcher guys that keep up with this stuff. In the second movie, they say they're aliens from another planet. They're banished to Earth to live as immortals as a punishment. And then that gets kind of X'd out of history into some kind of renegade version I haven't seen or give a shit about. But the less said, the better. There are some hokey bits. I guess a punk from 1,000 years ago in New York City who's immortal will just do whatever the hell he wants at times and drive crazy. I guess that could happen. There's some pretty epic sword fighting in the sense of the set pieces. They're fighting at an old movie theater for the big duel at the end. Signs falling down, water falling, crashing everywhere. They crash through the ceiling. It all sounds pretty cool, but the sword fighting itself is lame. It's like about on par with the early Star Wars films. A lot of simplistic moves. This isn't Eastern influence, despite the Asian swords. There's none of that. There's no flipping about. It's pretty rudimentary shit. I guess in reality, Christopher Lambert is visually impaired, can't see too well, so it's really dangerous to sword fight with him. Connor McLeod wins the fight, decapitates the Kurgan. He gets the prize. And the prize is, I think it's said that he's basically mortal now. It may be slightly altered in this unedited version, this unrated one, where it just seems like part of the prize is he gets to think what everybody else is thinking, so he can like read thoughts, and he's supposed to help bring the world together. And they've run with that a little bit in the second one. There's a solar crisis, global warming, environmental disaster, and he's the one who tries to rescue them. But he also ages up in that one too. So, yeah, I think you guys probably like this movie. I think it's alright. I give Highlander be it unrated or theatrical version. I always really rate the theatrical versions. I give it 2.5 out of 4 stars.